Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. This is part two. And I'm going to prove definitively that the scale that people tend to use in popular culture for intelligence is wrong and that we're not all equal. Okay, for the last almost 3 decades or so, really over 3 decades, I've been fighting tooth and nail with the oppressor, and in the last 17 years I've been on YouTube fighting tooth and nail with the oppressor as uncontrolled opposition. So you also see on record that my parents are arguing with me, trying to kind of get me to conform to the state on record, at least my mother. And you see that the police, at one point in one of my videos, you see them come up, and that was the day before they detained me without good cause, mind you. And at another point in the park, a police officer comes to kind of give me a hard time about making videos in the park back in California. So both those things happened in California. So why I've been fighting tooth and nail with the oppressor is uncontrolled opposition being shunned by attractive women. Some people have been fighting tooth and nail for the oppressor, and some people have been, behaving like they're a chicken with their head cut off. And in both of those categories of groups, there's people who weren't shunned by attractive females. So we're not all equal. Society doesn't all owe us the same respect or admiration. People shouldn't look up to us all to the same degree. There's no other way to look at it. Again, they should be judged by the content of their character, not automatically seen as equal to other people. And in the midst of this, there's a bunch of people in cults brainwashing people to think that they're superior to other people. And there's no sign that that's ever going to stop. So if you keep using your pathetic formula of, hey, we're all equal, obviously you're feeding into the oppressor's cause, and the more you argue for that, the more you're fighting tooth and nail for the oppressor. Now I want you all to think about the spectrums of people in every one of the ethnic groups. You can think of the races, the nations. Think about their brain function. Think about rockers and different types of people, jocks, gangsters, emos, goths, K-pop. Think about the different types of people, squares, church people. When I named those groups, I couldn't think of one person from those groups that's really respectable, because those groups are like a box where nobody in those groups are respectable. They have to be something else that transcends that group. So as they're making it harder for me to talk, do we judge people by how well they can talk when the most righteous person ever lived is being fumed and poisoned? And they're doing things with technology to make it harder for me to talk? Or do we judge people by the content of their character? Not by their grades in school. Martin Luther King was someone with a PhD. He didn't say judge people by whether or not they have a PhD. He said judge them by the content of their character. That's somebody who is the only person that I can think of with a PhD who has their own day, right? Martin Luther King Day. And he didn't say to judge him by his education, but by the content of his character. So you can see these females who go to Harvard and Yale and University of Michigan or wherever they go, and they think that they know better than I do about life, and they only would marry somebody with a fancy degree or somebody with money. What the hell? What's their counterargument? If they're so smart, what's their counterargument?